Walang iwanan.
For a Qatar Open first-round match, Alex Eala just sold out Khalifa International Stadium. She was chosen as the major attraction by the event organizers over world number ones and well-known celebrities, even though Grand Slam champions performed to half-empty crowds. Top seed sessions drew sporadic cheers and empty seats scorching in the desert sun, but 7,000 Filipino fans transformed a Tuesday afternoon encounter into a World Cup atmosphere. Do you believe that current Grand Slam champions lack Alex Eala's star power? Or is this merely the support of the Filipino community fabricating a fleeting illusion? Leave a sincere comment below. The events in Doha are not merely unexpected, therefore let's get the facts straight away. In contemporary women's tennis, it is truly unprecedented. When Alex Eala, who is not in the top 100, faced Teresa Valentinova of the Czech Republic in the first round, the stadium was completely packed out. Not only did it sell out, but it also drew a sizable crowd. Within minutes of the itinerary being made public, the tickets were gone. Scalpers showed up for a tennis match in the first round. Crowds outside the player entrance were too dense to safely handle, thus security had to be stepped up. Legends like Serena Williams, Maria Sharapova, Justine Henin, and Egatek have all played at the Qatar Open, for example. Usually, early rounds are low-key events with sporadic cheers, vacant seats, and civil settings while the top seeds establish themselves. That is typical for WTA 1000 competitions. You aim to draw respectable audiences by scheduling the main events at prime time. Although they don't increase ticket sales, the early rounds are filler material that aids in tournament funding. However, Alex Eala totally violated that model. A 20-year-old Filipino was chosen as the primary attraction by the event organizers after reviewing their draw and identifying several Grand Slam champions and the top 10 players. Consider the consequences of that choice. In essence, they're acknowledging that IA is more appealing than athletes who have won major championships and been. Top ranked in the entire world. And they were totally right. The stadium wasn't simply filled. It changed into a residence. There are flags everywhere. Chants reverberate throughout the complex. Decibel levels comparable to that of World Cup football games. For Valentova, the mood was oppressive, but for Eala, it was exuberant. It was a Billie Jean King Cup or Davis Cup setting for a singles competition. Tennis officials frequently ignore the simple explanation for why this occurred. There is a sizable Filipino expat population in Qatar. There, hundreds of thousands of Filipinos are employed and reside. They have been waiting for a hero to support them on the international scene for years. They had boxer Manny Pacquiao. Alex Eala is currently playing tennis. Additionally, they transformed the Khalifa International Complex into a stronghold. The mobilization was spontaneous and immediate upon the announcement of the program. Fan clubs, community conversations, and social media groups were all active at the same time. This wasn't sponsored advertising or corporate marketing. People who were desperate to support one of their own on a global scale organized this grassroots effort. Let's now compare that to the outcomes of other sessions. According to reports, matches with the top seeds at the same times drew between 30 and 40% of the available seats. A half-empty crowd watched Grand Slam winner and former world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka play. There were plenty of seats available for Iga Swiatek's early games. Theoretically, these players ought to be the main attractions at any event, but they were unable to easily create the same vibe that Eala did. If you're one of those elite players, that must hurt. You've achieved enormous success. You have been given the top ranking. For years, you have controlled the tour. And then, as you're playing to empty seats, this 20-year-old Filipino who has never won a WTA title sells out a stadium. Since Eala has shown that star power in tennis is more than just accomplishments or rankings, the jealousy is genuine and quite understandable. It all comes down to connecting with an audience. It's about standing for something greater than personal success. The Filipino supporters are doing more than just cheering on a gifted tennis player. They are in favor of representation. On a predominantly European and American-dominated platform, they are honoring Filipino achievement. Because Eala had to deal with the strain of 7,000 spectators yelling her name at every turn, the match itself was extremely exciting. Although it's a benefit, the pressure is also overwhelming. You expect a wall of noise when you leave, but instead you get courteous applause. In order to hear the roar, there is a propensity to overhit and destroy every ball. But rather than hero shots, tennis rewards consistency and patience. Valentova is not to be taken lightly. She is a strong Czech player who has defeated Eala in the past. She has a huge serve and strong ground strokes. Prior to this match, the head-to-head record was 1-0 in Valentova's favor. EA wasn't merely battling the opponent online. She was battling the specter of that earlier defeat as well as the statistical oddity of her struggles against Czech players. However, EA's mentality has changed. She could have given in to that pressure 2 years ago. Rather, she directed the energy. She stayed in points she had no business winning by using her defensive prowess, which included the lefty forehand hook she acquired at the Rafael Nadal Academy. Valentova had to hit one more ball before the Czech player crumbled because she prolonged rallies. In the second set, there was a moment that instantly went viral. Eala was dragged nearly into the doubles alley and wide to her backhand side. Her passing shot went down the line and into the corner after she ran and slid on the hardcourt. The noise was so loud that local seismographs picked it up. It's not exaggerated. It was truly deafeningly loud. Doha's courts are grit-hard, medium-slow, and capable to handling spin. This made Eala's game easier. It's hard for taller, flatter hitters like Valentova to get rhythm when she digs into the court with her big top-spin forehand and leaps high. Eala countered the Czechs' power advantage by pushing Valentova behind the baseline with the high bounce. Eala used the microphone to address the audience in Tagalog following the game. The location exploded. She expressed her gratitude to them for welcoming her. She recognized the sacrifices made by foreign employees who purchased tickets with their hard-earned money. Sport was revolutionized by the bond, the emotional bond between athlete and supporter. Muhammad Ali possessed it. That's what Pacquiao possessed. Eala currently has it. Aryna Sabalenka is undoubtedly watching all of this from her hotel room, wondering how she's been written off at a tournament where she has a real chance to win a title. She has several Grand Slam victories. She has held the top spot in the world. She ought to be the center of attention. Rather, the organizers focused all of their marketing efforts on a player who has never taken home a WTA championship. That's not meant as a critique of the planners. Their business choice was the right one. Tickets are sold by IA. In Qatar, at least, Sabalenka doesn't. The Filipino community turns out in large numbers to support their athletes, according to demographic realities. Not in other communities, or at least not as strongly. This highlights a serious issue with the WTA star marketing strategy. To decide who is included in promotional materials, the tour has relied on conventional metrics like ranking and Grand Slam titles, although these metrics don't account for demographic support or cultural ties. Despite being ranked lower than Sabalenka, EA is far more valued in Qatar from a business standpoint. There are substantial economic ramifications. After reviewing this data, tournament directors from all over the tour have realized they have been scheduling matches incorrectly. Assuming that attendance is influenced by this, they have begun assigning top seeds to prime spots. However, what if, regardless of rating, the player with the most ardent fan base should be awarded those slots? This further emphasizes the Asian market's unrealized potential, particularly in Southeast Asia. The WTA has attempted to court China for years, with varying degrees of success. However, the Philippines is an example of a market that is motivated solely by passion. The catalyst is A. If she keeps going in this direction, there may be additional Southeast Asian events or, at the very least, she will be acknowledged as a major worldwide marketing asset. This may appear to be a new development or an isolated incident to tennis fans watching from around the globe, but it actually reveals a change in the demography of the sport. For many years, American and European athletes have dominated the sport. These markets are the focus of the sponsorship funds, media attention, and infrastructure. However, because there was no champion to support, the enormous tennis fan communities in places like the Philippines were disregarded. They do now. Additionally, they are proving that they are capable of producing environments and ticket sales that are on par with anything in America or Europe. Eala recently demonstrated that connections are more important than accomplishments when it comes to attracting audiences, which should frighten established stars who have grown accustomed to believing they are irreplaceable. Eala will be under a great deal of pressure moving ahead. Because they are unable to place her on side courts or bury her in morning sessions, the event organizers are rushing to arrange her matches. No matter who she plays, she is now the main attraction. When you control the schedule rather than the schedule controlling you, that is the epitome of star power. However, there is also risk involved. This kind of connection requires a lot of emotional investment. In front of home crowds, young players frequently win intense, emotional matches only to lose badly in the following round. The hangover from adrenaline is real. Eala's crew must put her to sleep, aid in her recuperation, and help her concentrate on the next challenger. Regardless of how boisterous the audience was, the tournament isn't over yet. This tournament will be characterized by pictures of empty seats at other games in contrast to the sold-out Eala session. Alex Eala will be the main character in the Qatar Open 2026 narrative, regardless of who takes home the trophy in the end. She gave an event that was about to become yet another unforgettable early-season competition vitality, color, and noise. This fact must be being processed by Sabalenka and other elite seeds. They are currently better players. Despite their superior achievements and outcomes, they are unable to produce the atmosphere that I do. It's difficult to recover from such psychological hit. It makes them face the fact that being the best player does not equate to being the most significant player. Tennis officials should take note of what the Filipino supporters showed. Professional sports are fueled by fervent, active fan bases. Even if you have the world's best athletes, the sport will suffer if no one shows up to foster a positive atmosphere. Everywhere there is a Filipino community, which is essentially everywhere in the world, EA has an existing fan base that follows her. Better training or better shooting won't be able to duplicate that competitive advantage. It's demographic and cultural. And it's causing guys like Sabalenka, who have dominated by sheer tennis brilliance, to understand that becoming a star in the present era involves more than just winning games. Grand Slam champions played to empty seats, while Alex Eala just sold out a whole stadium for a first-round match. She was selected by the organizers of the Qatar Open as their main draw over world number 1, and the choice paid off with an unparalleled atmosphere and ticket sales. Rankings are no longer a factor in star power. Connection is key, and Eala has it. For more tennis reality checks, hit the like and subscribe buttons.